P90 pickups are very popular amongst certain types of guitar players, but to others, for instance us heavy players, they can be sort of a mystery and stigmatized as being for blues players and nobody else. Meanwhile, the people who bought up all of the 2000s baritone P90 Squires are playing loathe riffs on them. So clearly, P90s must be more versatile than we're thinking, right? Well, since I'm fortunate enough to know the lovely folks over at Sweetwater, I've been able to have them send out this beautiful Reverend Jetstream equipped with P90s in all 3 positions so that we can take a closer look at what makes these pickups different. So thank you to Sweetwater for making this video possible. There are links to buy your own Reverend Jetstream in the description if this video makes you thirsty for some P90 action. Now first off, I'm not going to be getting into the actual inside of a P90 too much, since I'm no electrician and I don't know the science behind how electronics work. A certain Scottish man comes to mind though, who may have explained this in some depth before, and I'll link that video in the description for you to watch after this one. But I don't care what's happening inside the guitar, because I'm not a luthier. What I care about is how the end result, the finished guitar, behaves when played. So we are going to differentiate between 2 types of pickups here: single coils and humbuckers. Obviously, a single coil is really just some wire wrapped around magnetic pole pieces. A humbucker is 2 of those wound together in opposite polarities to cancel out that interference noise that you get with single coils sometimes. Don't ask me what polarity actually means, I don't give a shit. Now, a P90 is technically a single coil since there is just one single coil of wire being wrapped around a magnet. But as you can tell by looking at it next to a Strat single coil, it is much larger. So that means that there is more coil in there. The whole thing is just physically a lot larger, and that obviously has an effect on the sound. It makes the output higher, so it effectively makes it louder, and it's no longer quite as thin sounding as a standard Strat or Telecaster single coil. That, combined with how gritty P90s can sound, sort of makes it nearly a sonic blend between the characters of a Strat and a Les Paul, which is exactly why it's so popular with blues players. But that's also what's led to them being sort of largely overlooked in a lot of genres where they can be a lot of fun. Because while one of my favorite things to use them for is actually fusion kind of music, they are also surprisingly fun to get really heavy with. This should be no surprise to you if you know those old Squier Antigua baritone jazz masters, which were marketed towards surf players, but later bought up entirely by drop F gent dickheads. And yes, I know, those are technically Jazzmaster pickups and not P90s, but they're similar enough that I'll count that anyway, so you can refrain from commenting about it. I've made that mistake plenty of times before. I've had Jazzmasters in my lap, I've called the pickups P90s, and I've gotten comments saying, oh no, they are completely different. they're not that different, okay? And on this guitar in particular, again, the link to which is in the description if you'd like to really know how versatile a guitar can get, this really opens you up to so many options, to the point that I'd almost call it a more versatile guitar than one with dual humbuckers. Now, you'll never achieve tones with this that you do with two humbuckers, but if I may take a moment to pretend to be Glenn Fricke here, so, just push the hairline back 4 inches and age me 45 years, those humbucker sounds, as sick as they are, can be a bit played these days. And so, if you want to try something new, whether you're playing heavy music or not, try seeing how P90s gel with your setup. I've mentioned this before in some of my videos, but I don't like having too many of one thing in my collection. For example, I would never want more than one 6-string with the same configuration of Seymour Duncan pickups, unless one of them also had something to set it apart, like a Floyd Rose or something. I have many guitars, but they all accomplish something else, whether that's in function or in aesthetics. And this guitar is definitely a piece of the puzzle that I was missing up until now, because nothing else that I have sounds like this. And so the reason I said you should watch this before buying a P90 guitar is because by the end of it now, you'll be thinking one of two things. Either, that's not for me, I'm glad I watched this so that I can stick with my humbuckers or Strat single coils or whatever. Or, this video has opened up a new option for you that you previously hadn't considered because there was just that bias in your head that P90 pickups aren't for you. This wasn't a long video, not a lot of yapping, but a lot of playing, and that's entirely the point of it. So let me know what you thought of the sounds in this video in the comments. Leave a like, sub to the channel. Thank you to Sweetwater for making this video possible with this beautiful, gorgeous Reverend guitar in a finish that I have dubbed Piss Burst affectionately. I'll see you around.